Good morning. I'm Dan Foley with Phc News. I'm here at the second day of the 2014 AHR Expo. I'm here with Chris Drew, Vice President of Burnham Holdings. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me on today.
Tell me about Burnham Holdings. What's your company all about?
Burnham Holdings is the owner of multiple boiler companies in the United States. U.S. Boiler happens to be one of the largest boiler manufacturers of residential boilers in the U.S. But really, U.S. Boiler is not only just an assortment of products, it's about the people that work there. I mean, we're headquartered in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We've been in the business a few years, let's say. We manufacture Burnham branded products.
Chris, the first boiler I put in 27 years ago was an old Burnham Series 2. I see you got a lot of exciting new products here as well.
We do. We continue to sell the Series 2. It's a venerable product. We've sold lots and lots of them over the years, but we continue to advance the ball with technology and communications and trying to make systems better versus just the efficiency of the product. That's really kind of what our message is here in the booth today.
Chris, I see you got a lot of exciting new products here. Why don't you take a few minutes and show me some of them?
Okay.
I thought I knew most of the Burnham products, but this is a new product for me.
Absolutely, Dan. This is a product that we'll have on the market later on this spring. This is our K2. It's the latest generation of our condensing boiler series. It's an extension of our Alpine product line. Of course, now the cover doesn't come off. Basically, what we've tried to do is utilize some new technologies that have become available on the market in the last couple of years. We cleaned up a lot of the wiring on the inside. You have a nice, clean, simple panel here. You've got both high voltage and low voltage wiring directly underneath, so you can clean up your wiring from the field. This board actually the boiler will still operate. We have a negative pressure cabinet underneath there to help maintain any potential leakage issues, as well as preheat your combustion air, which helps with your efficiency. This panel actually, with these two thumb screws, will swing right out.
Very nice.
Like that, and you have complete access to the heat exchanger. Basically using the latest derivative of the Giannone heat exchanger, the isothermic. It's a top vented unit, PVC venting, as well as a couple more components from Europe. All your connections for water piping are underneath, so it's very easy to connect, and we're including the pump to make sure that you've got the proper pump size for your application.
Chris, a couple things I like. I like that you separated the controls from the combustion chamber. That's been an issue with us for several products that we've worked on. I also like the control isolated from the combustion products as well. Is this the Sage control that I'm used to, or is this a different control?
This is absolutely the Sage control you're used to. We actually are on wave 5 of the software that's in there. It is a set of proprietary software coding, although it's a standard piece of hardware from Honeywell. And we continue to use the latest version of the Panasonic display, which is a higher definition display that you may have seen on some of the older Alpines that you would have put in.
Right.
This touchscreen has proven to be very contractors like it. It's simple, it's easy to use. You can basically set the boiler up with 4 touches of a button, unless you want to get more sophisticated in terms of setting your outdoor reset algorithms and so forth for improved performance.
Well, I love the fact that the codes are in plain English.
That's absolutely
numbers
right.
And you don't need a book to read. It tells you exactly what the problem is, what the operating conditions are. We like this control a lot.
So we're pretty pleased with some of the changes we've made to the new version, Wave 5 as we call it. It's got some new features to it. You may notice on here, one thing we think is pretty cool is we're now, when the boiler's running, instead of just showing the percentage of modulation, we're directly going to show you how many BTUs of heat you're putting into it.
Very nice.
Let me extend on that if you don't mind for a second. And one of the things we've done with that is with this zone panel. So this zone control is something new that's also coming out this year. One of the beauties of this is it connects, the only wiring between the boiler and the zone panel is this Ethernet cable. So basically that plugs right into there, as well as plugs right into the board right here. Once that's plugged in, the boiler, you can now run and set up your zones by size. So you can go into this display, you say, okay, the kitchen. I say name a zone, zone 1 is the kitchen. Now you can say, okay, zone 1 is 20,000 BTUs. The boiler will sense that. And when zone 1 calls, it says, all I ever am going to need for zone 1 is 20,000 BTUs. It'll adjust its firing rate to only provide 20,000 BTUs of heat. It's a system efficiency thing, not a fuel combustion efficiency.
So it truly is a smart control.
It absolutely is a smart control. We've got some patents pending on some of the algorithms in there. And then what it will then do is say zone 2 calls on top of it, and it's 30,000 BTUs. So now you've got 2 zones. Control says, okay, I need 50,000 BTUs of heat. I'm going to again adjust my modulation rate and firing rate, my modulation rate and firing size to adjust for the 50,000 BTUs.
Chris, does this control zone valves, zone pumps, or both?
It controls both. We have a version for zone valves and a version for pumps. It will work with any of our current line of products through the EnviroCom protocol that's built into the Honeywell controls that we generally standardize on.
Very nice, very nice. Now let's talk about installation. How does this install? Does it mount to the wall? Is it floor mounted or both? How does this?
This particular product is a wall-mounted unit. You can't really see, but it has connections on the back to basically hang it on the wall. All your connections for venting are going to be on the top,
right,
and your water piping connections are directly underneath, and then you've got your trap right here.
Let's talk about service, because I'm a service tech by trade. Let's open this back up again.
There you go.
What are the service components? I see you got an igniter, electrode, flame sensor. What else are we going to need to get to? The gas valves has a union connection.
Everything, we're using flexible connectors on most of the primary items you might need to service. It's not shown here, but actually on the production version, I'm sorry, let me go around to this side if you don't mind. There will be an access panel for the pump right here.
Oh, okay.
So this will be a flat panel in production, but then there's a knockout right here for the pump. So if you ever needed to change out that pump, you've got complete access with 6 screws to basically reach in there, disconnect that, and change that pump out if required. You can see obviously it's flanged,
right.
Very straightforward. You've got the flexible connections so that you've got some play in getting it in and out of there.
That makes it nice and easy to service.
Yeah, we've tried very hard. We've had we brought a lot of contractors in over the last 6 months to try and help us with the design and make it as flexible and kind of contractor friendly as we can for service techs like yourself.
Chris, lastly, let's touch on this product here. I just saw this IQ control. What is this?
Oh yeah, so one of the other things that we're coming out with in the next, again, as we launch this product, is a wireless version of the outdoor sensor.
I love it.
So as a contractor, you've probably been running those wires outside and putting a little sensor out there. So we're leveraging some other Honeywell technologies to be able to provide you with a wireless outdoor sensor. Generally, with that sensor, you can just put that outside like you would for like a Prestige thermostat or some of the other Honeywell devices you may be familiar with.
Right.
That thermostat will then will send the signal to here. No wiring anymore, no running around trying to get through the crawl space or whatever it is that you have to do to get that sensor outside.
Chris, we work in basements that are finished.
That's it.
We can't get a wire across the basement, so now we can't sell them reset. This solves
there
that
you go.
problem.
It solves your problem
Great
for
solution.
you. So that's
push the button, it connects.
You love it, right?
I love it.
I've got them in my house. I think they're fantastic.
Chris, this is one of my favorite products. I put a bunch of these in, the Mega Steam. But tell me about it.
Dan, this is a great product. We've had this out for roughly 5 years now. It's a concept that was derived from our 3-pass water boiler. This product is essentially the only product in the world that is a 3-pass steam boiler that does 86% efficiency, AFUE. It's got great service features to it. It's got a burner plug that basically unplugs, and then the burner door will swing open completely. You can reverse that door so you can swing it the other way, given the access that you may or may not have. It's got a lovely steam chest above it that's got very unfired, it's not fired, it's not hot, let's say. So you get really nice dry steam. And then when you use both tappings that are available, as well as our custom piping kit, you can get beautiful, lovely steam up into the house and minimize any problems you might have trying to get nice dry steam up into the living space.
Chris, as a service tech, I like the swing out door. That makes it very easy to brush the heat exchanger sections and vacuum them out. I like the wet base design you have, the wide sections, the large steam chest. It's a great boiler for steam. One thing that really caught my eye was this header kit. Let's talk about that for a second. Usually on a job, we're cutting and threading each of these individual nipples, and it takes a lot of man hours to put this together. But what's Burnham done to make my job easier?
Oh, Dan, that's just such a good point, because what we try to do is make it simpler for your guys in the field. You know, it's really hard for guys to cut and thread pipe. You know, it takes a fair number of minutes to do that. And if labor is important to you, if you pick up one of these header kits, all this stuff comes in one single box. It's all ready for you to go, as well as complete directions for how to put it, to assemble it. So if your guy's not an expert on how to do the steam piping, you know, I'm not sure, you know, depending on who you've got on the job, it's a really easy way to get him out on the job, up and running, and in and out, you know, in a good time.
Well, that's great. At 20 to 30 minutes to thread each of these joints, that's a real labor saver. Labor savings is money in my pocket.
There you go. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help the contractors any way we can, as well as make sure they do a good job with the piping. Because again, a lot of guys aren't really familiar with steam piping. So this is a way to make sure that we get it right, make a better job for the homeowner, the consumer, as well as make it easy for the contractor.
What sizes does it come in?
We make this product in 3 sizes, 3, 4, and 5 sections, 4 input ranges though, with the largest input being roughly 200,000 BTUs.
Great, so we can consider this a residential light commercial product.
Absolutely. We've actually had jobs where they've taken these on light commercial applications and twinned them together to get about 400,000, nice comfortable heat for brownstone, something like that right here in New York City.
Chris, I recognize this product. The first boiler I ever put in back in 1987 was a Burnham Series 2. Looks the same to me, but then you made some changes over the years.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Dan. I mean, this is a venerable product for us. It's been out in the industry an awful long time. Lots and lots of them out there, let's say. But yes, when we had to go through the 2012 regulations last year for the DOE minimum efficiencies, we did have to make some changes. The product now is only available as an electronic ignition. There's no more standing pilot available, and we've done some nice things on the control side to make it actually more efficient from a system perspective.
Well, Chris, this is our workhorse. We've put in hundreds of these boilers. They last forever, they're reliable, they're efficient. But tell me, I see some new products inside of here, new controls.
Yeah, when we changed the controls options on it late last year, we've gone to this Honeywell integrated control. We now use electronic sensors versus the old mechanical L4006s or 4080s you might have seen. And one of the nice things about this control is we've actually added an extra set of relays. So you can pull off both your domestic priority for your hot water, indirect hot water heater, as well as one extra zone. So as a contractor, you don't need to go out and get that extra relay or potentially buy a small zone panel. You can pull 2 zones right off this without any real troubles. It also has a series of diagnostic codes, and unfortunately, unlike the Alpine, they're not in English because we didn't have enough room for a big display.
Right.
However, you can get it to program it, and it will basically tell you and troubleshoot itself in a lot of cases.
Well, see, Chris, I see the codes are right on the control itself, so I don't need a separate I&O manual that gets lost or gets thrown out or separate paperwork. It's all right here.
Yeah, again, trying to keep it simple for the contractor, whoever's on the job, trying to work on the boiler.
Hey, Chris, if I heard you right regarding the zoning, I can zone with 2 pumps or zone a pump and 2 zone valves. Is that accurate?
That's
With
exactly.
no external equipment.
That's exactly right. So, if you have to go add it, I'm not sure what it costs you to go and add an extra relay for an extra zone, but again, we've tried to save the contractor time and money, giving him all the information he needs, as well as allowing it to do priority for the indirect water heater if you have one on the job.
Well, Chris, this has been a venerable product for many years. Looks like moving forward, it will continue to be your workhorse.
We continue to supply this product. We do have some other things in the works that maybe improve on it a little bit, but this sure has been a great product for us over the years.
Great. Chris, as always, I appreciate your time. Good to see you again.
Great seeing you as well, Dan.
Thanks.